Jessica, where's the line where Democrats go too far?
I certainly haven't seen it yet. I mean, making thoughtful comments about how this is a war that we chose to get involved in when one of our strongest allies pushed us in that direction, I don't think is anything but a factual assessment of what's going on here.
Please like, subscribe, and share. On The Five, a few MAGA co-hosts offered a slight pushback against the usual war-hungry rhetoric. The panel featured frat boy-style pundit Jesse Waters, and we'll check out clips of his exchange with Jessica Tarlov and the others. I'll share my thoughts along the way. Let's dive in.
Looks like Democrats' pathological hatred of President Trump is still alive and well. Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom wasting no time in blasting Operation Epic Fury. Watch.
Donald Trump has dragged us into a war the American people do not want. If we want to stop Donald Trump with this random decision that he has arrived at, then Congress must act.
Reckless is the only way to describe this. He didn't describe to the American people what the end game is here. He didn't describe the existential threat of the moment, the immediacy of the crisis at hand. There wasn't one. He manufactured it.
And check out this glowing obituary of the Washington Post to Iran's now deceased murderous Ayatollah Khomeini, writing about his bushy white beard and easy smile, how he cut a more avuncular figure and was fond of Persian poetry and Les Mis.
Well, how did Les Mis turn out? I think they just found out.
This is a good point.
The Iranian version.
Yeah. So what, I mean, like the press, like they can't help themselves.
Yeah. I mean, the weird thing is that presumably that was written before. Right. So because as the way the obit offices work or departments work, you have big world leaders that everybody's got a file. And then they're like, oh, we forgot to mention that he killed 32,000 of his own citizens last month after they said that they wouldn't do anything after President Trump asked them not to. One of the things about the Democrats is the bat signal went out. The bat signal said, call this a war of choice. And you can go down the list and they all say war of choice. I think one of the things that people do also forget, in addition to the things we mentioned before, 46 Americans were killed on October 7th when Iran-backed Hamas went into Israel. And that decision by the Iranians and Hamas and Hezbollah to, well, maybe not as much Hezbollah, but Hamas, to take that action on October 7th led to all of this. Remember the pagers? Pagers exploding, because the Israelis said never again. And Biden said, okay, yeah, maybe never again, but we'll see if we can help you later. And President Trump said, oh, no, never again. And he meant it. I do wonder if any Democrat can tell us when is enough on Iran. John Fetterman, the senator from Pennsylvania, said, I'm sick of hearing Democrats saying no matter what, Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, but then not saying anything about what they would do to stop it. And I do believe that the whole world might rest a little bit easier knowing that Kamala Harris is not making these negotiations. If you think about the story that we did last week that said that the issue of Gaza really hurt her, right? So you can imagine that the Hamas caucus would have talked her out of something like this type of action. And that's also what she just displayed on the street corner.
Joey, you have a unique to this table perspective of having gone into war and had to suffer through hearing, or maybe you didn't, I don't know. But the idea that you have men and women going into battle right now, and they're listening to this carping back home, political carping back home, from people who are clearly trying to score political points, as you and your friends are perhaps willing to lay down their lives for that right to carp.
Yeah, we didn't listen to any of them. They were all talking heads. I didn't vote in the presidential election until McCain-Obama, and it's because I learned that McCain was a POW, and I thought that was kind of bad. I don't think this generation has that luxury. We didn't have smartphones, so we weren't checked into politics as a part of our personality. I couldn't tell you what the politics were of any of my buddies, except we all agreed on killing bad guys, and that was a hell of a lot of fun, as General Mattis said. So I think that in a lot of ways, maybe we were more ignorant, maybe we were less propagandized. I don't know. I think that a lot of folks right now in the military are excited. I think that Pete Hegseth has done a hell of a job returning the warrior. He said it in one of the latest comments. I think maybe it was at the press briefing. He said, we're not defenders, we're warriors. We are waging war on our terms to win the goals that we set and come home and celebrate. And that's the posture of this war. Listen, I understand the angst of looking back on the last 20 years of what wars in the Middle East were. But if I look back on the last 10 years and see everything that President Trump has done, from Maduro to Midnight Hammer to Qasem Soleimani, he strikes, he achieves an objective, and he brings our guys and gals home. I have to believe that's the plan here. I believe that having these Arab nations pissed off at Iran is a helpful tool in that when it comes to whatever rebuilding or whatever reconstituting the country of Iran turns into, because they've got a bigger risk here than we do if the regime reconstitutes itself.
Jessica, where's the line where Democrats go too far?
I certainly haven't seen it yet. I mean, making thoughtful comments about how this is a war that we chose to get involved in when one of our strongest allies pushed us in that direction, I don't think is anything but a factual assessment of what's going on here. And if J.D. Vance and Tulsi Gabbard weren't in the administration, they'd be on that same side. They'd be saying, focus at home. America first is about what's going on here. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard basically left the Democratic Party because of this, saying that Hillary Clinton was going to get us into these useless wars. We heard that in 2024 in the election, too, that Donald Trump is a peace president and Kamala Harris is the one who's going to take us down these routes. She even called it properly. She talked about, what he was going to do to the economy and that he was going to take us into war with Iran. If you go back to 2012, Trump is even tweeting about how Obama's poll numbers are so bad he's going to launch a strike on Libya or Iran. And Stephen Miller also tweeting before the election that because Liz Cheney was Kamala's top advisor, which I don't think is true anyway, Liz wants to invade the whole Middle East. Kamala equals World War III. Trump equals peace. And I know he has the FIFA Peace Prize, and that is a big deal. But I think that committee would not be too happy with what has happened in the last few days.
Jesse, the fact
They're trying to drag the country into yet another war, one that even Fox News can't sell to the public. Polls show roughly 60% to 80% of Americans oppose it, including not just Democrats and independents, but plenty of Trump voters, too. Even Tucker Carlson, formerly of Fox, has been loudly against it. Do the hosts on The Five really think he's some left-wing Democrat? And it's always funny how Fox pretends it's not part of the media while attacking it. You are the media, right-wing, pro-MAGA media, with seats in White House briefings. They act like outsiders, just like they do with Trump. Anyway, let's hear more of what Jesse Waters has to say.
at the beginning of the Ukraine conflict makes me think that maybe it's all political on their part.
Right. So we tried to do what the Democrats wanted. We bribed the Iranians. We gave them all of this money, and it didn't stop them from enriching.
And this lie is told over and over and over again. We didn't bribe the Iranians. It was money that had been seized from the Iranians that the Obama administration then gave back to the administration after they signed a deal with the Obama administration that their God King Donald Trump, Jesse Waters' God King, Donald Trump, then went in and tore up. And now that's why we're in the place that we're at now.
We tried sanctions. We tried treaties. Trump tried bunker busters. And they've already acknowledged that this regime cannot ever get a nuclear weapon. And after all of these things we've tried, they're still enriching, stockpiling ballistic missiles, exporting terror, and threatening to shut down the straits. So the president says, you know what? If you guys aren't going to do anything, we've tried everything else. I'm going to take this one for the team. I'm going to do something. You don't have to back me up publicly, but I know deep down all these Democrats are very happy that I'm doing this. And they can calculate. If this thing goes bad, they can say, you know what? Trump's on the warpath, and you could just stick it to J.D. Vance. But if it is successful, and we have a military parade this summer on the 250th anniversary of this country, and the stock market rebounds, and everybody gets these fat tax refund checks, the Republicans have a very different story to tell before the midterms.
And of course, every future president will be able to thank him for that, taking it off their table, off their plate. All right, coming up next, President Trump is not ruling out boots on the ground in.
Once again, Fox News is completely out of touch, pushing a narrative most Americans aren't buying. The majority of people don't want this war, and it's not just Democrats saying that. Yet Fox keeps echoing Trump like that reflects public opinion. And when they ask how far Democrats will go, the reality is their response has been pretty weak. Instead of clearly calling it illegal and rejecting it outright, many are just saying Congress should be consulted. That's the real concern. If a resolution comes up, will some Democrats actually support it? Ro Khanna believes most will oppose it, maybe even picking up a few Republicans like Thomas Massie. But you can expect a few to fall in line anyway due to political pressures and defense interests. Jessica Tarlov is right. There's no line crossed here by Democrats. But on Fox, anything short of praising Trump gets labeled extreme. That just shows how disconnected they are from the broader public. What do you think? Do you agree with Tarlov or side with her MAGA co-hosts like Jesse Waters? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.